Okay. All right, good
We are
afternoon.
live all the way around. Go ahead.
We're gonna start. Are you ready, Scott?
We are ready to go. We are live all around.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to City and School Collaborative Subcommittee meeting. Today is Friday, October 23rd, 2020, and it is now 4:02 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Scott, would you be able to put the flag on the screen?
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much. Superintendent, would you lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag of
flag.
the United States,
States of America, and to the republic
Republic,
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands, one nation,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Public forum. Members of the public may address us on any subject on today's agenda or one that does not appear on the agenda. You may do so virtually through Zoom. Click the raise hand button and you'll be called upon in order. When it is your turn, please state your name and address for the record. So thank you for your participation. And I'd like to call on Scott to monitor the raise hand to connect the members
Yep.
for comments.
We have one hand raised right now. It is Elena Gill, and give us a sec and we'll have her audio, and then Tina Ortiz is on deck.
Okay.
Okay, Elena, you can go ahead.
Hi, hello. All right, so my name is Elena Gill. I live at 250 Boulder Street here in Milpitas. I am a board member representing Milpitas PAL softball. Other members will speak to our field and amenity needs, but I really wanted to speak about the importance of organized sports in a child's life. Studies show that children who participate in sports starting between ages 6 and 12 have 40% higher test scores in school, a 15% increased likelihood of attending college, and 8% higher lifetime earnings. In the last 10 years, an estimated 20 Milpitas Unified School District students have received softball scholarships to attend a four-year university, many of whom stated they would not have had this opportunity without a scholarship. As a league, our focus is not just teaching these girls the game of softball, but life lessons, empowering them with tools and skills, and most importantly, the opportunity to be successful. City council members and MUSD board members, we need your help. We cannot continue to do this without you. We implore you to quickly find a short and long-term solution that these girls deserve. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you, Elena. The next comment comes from Tina Ortiz. We're gonna have her talk, and William Rodriguez, you're on deck.
Good
Tina, go
evening.
ahead.
My name is Tina. I'm the current president of softball, and I know we're waiting a decision from the district. We've been waiting for some time now, and we thank you guys for meeting to make that decision today. I just wanted to address some things. I know that maybe a possibility with middle school sports not happening this season. I don't know if the district would consider allowing softball to have their season out of Russell, since there's no urgency to have that field prepared, since no school sports will be playing. And this way it'll give the city and district time to get us a facility or a short-term solution in place before our spring season starts. Secondly, I just wanted to also address that in the event we're not able to have our facilities all under one umbrella this season, that maybe the district could consider any fields that you guys may have under your belt that are all their infields, like at Spangler or Senate, put those aside just for softball, because we are going to be short on field use, and it's going to be imperative that we have facilities that are going to be feasible for our girls to use. So, and those are some of my suggestions, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to do something for us despite the circumstances of us losing Russell. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina. William Rodriguez, you are up, and Walker Demike, you are on deck.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, well said by the two ladies in front of me. I'm not going to be so nice. I'm a concerned parent, and I represent Milpitas softball. And I understand that some of the city council members don't want to ruffle your feathers of the Milpitas Unified School District in regards to reneging on the joint use agreement of the softball at Russell Middle School. But somebody's got to take a stand and answer questions for these young ladies. And I guess it's up to the citizens to do it. It's very appalling to hear that the school district was going to redevelop the land behind Russell Middle School, but yet they had no substantial plan to include or relocate softball league that had played there and called them fields home for many years. Additionally, they didn't even reach out to the league to find a resolution, which is very bad in my eyes. Whoever was the person or persons that were spearheading this project or had any input should be ashamed of themselves over the betrayal and disrespect that had caused to these young women. Whether it was an oversight or blatant disregard, it was pure gross negligence on behalf of the Milpitas Unified School District. This decision angered a lot of people, and had the softball community not spoken up and brought this issue to light, you would have left those girls out in the dry. The same girls that represent Milpitas and Milpitas High in the future. It would be hypocritical of me as a parent to sit on my hands as I preach to my daughter and players to be strong women and never settle for less. So I'm leading by example and I'm fighting for what's right. I will always go to bat for these young girls and never turn my back on them. The ball is in your court now. What do you have to say to these young ladies? What are you going to do for them? Actions speak louder than words. Please skip the rhetoric. They deserve answers and a resolution now. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, William. Walker Demike, you are up, and Art Curiel, you are on deck.
Hi, my name is Dominique Walker. I am a seventh grader at Thomas Russell Middle School. I've been playing softball for almost all my life, so please help us find a new field. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we are up to Art Curiel, and take it away.
Okay, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to let me talk. You know, my name's Art Curiel, 231 Dixon Landing in Milpitas. I'm currently the UIC for the softball league, and I've been coaching Milpitas youth sports for a very long time, and it's upsetting to me that these girls are losing those fields at Russell. You know, they've been there a long time. There's a lot of girls, a lot of family, a lot of people in the community that have been playing in those fields. And it's really upsetting just as a coach and as a teacher to teach these girls to be leaders when they grow up. It really upsets me. And, you know, I feel like it was just complete disregard for the girls in our community just to go ahead and vote to put a turf soccer field there. There's plenty of soccer fields out there for the boys. There's plenty of stuff for the girls. And I don't think you guys are treating the girls equally as the boys. It seems like they're just, you know, on the back burner. And we should be doing more for the girls in our community. I don't think we're doing enough for the girls in our community. I mean, softball is one thing, but we need to do more to empower these girls. That's what we teach and preach out on the fields, to empower. You can do anything to these young softball ladies that are out there playing. And I feel like the district, and I don't even put the onus on the city. I think it's the district, more in fact, is, you know, disregarding these girls by trying to get rid of the joint use agreement. So, you know, please think it clearly and try to find these girls a home, because, you know, they deserve a new home and they deserve equal or better than what the boys are getting. And if you look at, you know, softball's a big aspect of the Milpitas community. If you look at the softball rosters from the last 10 years, there's a bunch of girls that have received scholarships. Bunch of girls. And even if they don't receive a scholarship, it's a means for these girls to try to get their grades higher when they're going to school. They learn that as a player in our youth organization. So please take into account our young ladies in this community in making these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Art. And we do have another public comment from RY.
Hi, this is Roger Yee. Am I on? Hello?
Yes, hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, Roger Yee, 1900 Grand Teton. I just want to thank you all. You know, back in 1992, I started this for the softball program. I just kind of want to give you a little bit of history. Milpitas had given the boys Milpitas South and North softball fields and didn't have anything for the girls. And the city really did come through along with our school district. They saw the vision and they allowed us to and gave us the opportunity to use the fields. And I appreciated that. I mean, that was huge for us. It did, for these last 23 years, we've had many, many young ladies grow up through this league, and they've all gone, doesn't have to go to school. They've all become great citizens in our community and are giving back. Several of the girls, though, did go on to Stanford, University of Santa Clara, and and several UCs. I think that this is what we did then, we can do again. I understand what happened, and I don't, I understand we got money to do what we need to do, and it's for education. I totally get that, but I'm asking you to invest into our young ladies as you had in the past, and I ask that you take this investment and put it back into it, because I think we have shown substantial. These young ladies who have come out are now young women raising families here in this community, and actually are coaching also and teaching. So I ask that you take the time, expedite the time, like we did the skate park, the city and the school district work together and come up with these quick and expeditious fields and get them designed and developed, and for these young ladies so they can have their own home again. But I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. And next up, we have Jamie Godoy.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jamie Godoy, and I'm the eldest daughter of Roger and Vicky Yee. When the fields were dedicated in my dad's name, I was only a sophomore in Milpitas High School. And at the time, I was really unaware of the weight and the impact those fields brought to females within our community. Almost 21 years later, and now with children of my own, the field now represents a whole new meaning. The field Dad worked for, the city's dedication to the women's athletics, and the school board's acknowledgement for gender parity and equality present women like myself and my sisters with opportunity. Opportunity in athletics immediately result in quick life lessons: how to be a team player, be part of a team, how to be a leader, how to lose and admit defeat, how to compete, how to be confident, how to be resilient and to get back up, and how to be a student of the game and life. Education paired with opportunity like softball exponentially expands the limits and bounds to life, brings forth opportunity to all girls regardless of their race and social status. For me, having opportunity to play softball resulted in higher education. It brought opportunity to play college softball, resulting in multiple degrees, provided abilities to travel the United States, overall expanding my perspective on life. And the opportunity to play softball taught me the resilience and confidence needed to chase and grow my career in Silicon Valley. It taught me empathy and selflessness needed to raise my children. And millions of women like myself all were provided that same opportunity to learn the game of softball in a space that is dedicated for them specifically, will help to demonstrate to youth that all things are possible. Like my father, I urge for a commitment to our young ladies to identify, design, and develop and build a new and wonderful complex. Thank you again for your time and commitment.
Thank you. And right now, that was the last public comment that we have.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, we are moving on to D. We need the motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Is a second? Here a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Montana. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think you need to do roll call, individual, roll call for the vote, call for the vote. With Zoom, I think the Zoom, each individual has to take a vote on it.
Okay, we'll do so.
Okay, so going down the line, yes.
Okay. Mayor Richran?
Can't hear you, Rich.
Okay, I hear you. Actually, I see you.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
New format. I'm getting used to it. I'm sorry.
All right, Vice President Norwood, you motioned, so I assume you said it's an aye for you.
Yes.
Myself, aye. Am I missing anybody?
That's it. That's 4. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. I do need a motion to approve the minutes of August 28, 2020.
Motion to approve the minutes of August 28, 2020.
Second.
All right, we're going, vote again, Councilmember Montana?
Yes.
Okay, and I myself, yes. Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes approved. Moving on to after discussion item, and on August 28th at the meeting, we asked the superintendent to investigate and to bring back options, or to bring back this item to discuss further. And so I'm going to call on Superintendent Jordan to take away.
Thank you, President Lien.
Thank you.
Before we begin to the discussion, I heard several statements from those who spoke, and I appreciate each person who came to share their experiences and their perspectives. And it seems that there is the assumption that there will be no more softball fields, which is inaccurate. There will be softball fields. The one item in the design that potentially will not be there unless the city chose to rebuild it is the snack shack. And like our speakers, we in Milpitas Unified and I want to do all we can to empower our females in leadership and athletic scholarship. And one of the aspects of building a soccer field as well as a track and field for our students to use is that those are two sports that are female students participate in for interscholastic sports. So it isn't necessarily doing away with softball, which we aren't because there are two fields in the design. It is adding more opportunities for female scholarships, female scholars who are athletes. And the other piece, I really appreciate Mr. Yee coming and giving us the perspective, historical perspective, that I'm not sure any of us were necessarily aware of, about how the joint use came to be in the first place, looking for parity, and that the city had a field for boys baseball, but they didn't have something for girls. And along those lines, he suggested, as did Harmony, and I think it was William, and also Ms. Ortiz and Elena, about some way of resolving the issue so that they can all play softball while we look for alternatives if there is indeed a need for more than 2 softball fields, as is in the plan. And I do appreciate that everybody understands the mission of the school district is to provide opportunities for our students, and that the redesign of that facility to allow for more of our students to participate in athletics in addition to softball is something that's very important to us. And I know our city staff, Renee and Ashwini, have prepared a slide presentation. So why don't you go ahead and start with that?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ashwini Kantak. I'm the Assistant City Manager with the City of Milpitas, and Renee Lorenzen, who's our Director of Recreation and Community Services, as well as the Superintendent, will be co-presenting with me. And so we have a brief kind of background and then some work that we've been doing, looking at certain options. So just a brief background, as you know, we're talking about a joint use agreement that was initially entered into in 1997 for Bobby Sox Fields at Russell Middle School, and the property was owned by MUSD. In 2010, this JUA was updated to capture actual improvements. So the city did invest some money into the fields and infrastructure, as well as put in a snack shack and portable restrooms. And so the JUA covers, it's a lease agreement, also covers shared use and then operation roles and obligations. The agreement goes through 2036, and there are some provisions if the school wanted to sell the property or dispose of the property. There's no actual termination provision for change of use, which is why we would need to look at a joint use agreement amendment. And we're looking at options for that. But that's where we're at right now. We have discussed this with the subcommittee before, and coming back to you with some additional information today. Next slide, please. So here's the current use and conditions. Right now, the fields are used for school activities Monday through Friday until 4 p.m. and on various special occasions. And then the city manages the public use of the fields after 4 p.m. on weekdays, and then as well as on weekends. And currently the amenities include 3 fields plus 1 practice field, 1 snack shack and restroom, as I mentioned earlier, as well as a parking lot that does provide adequate parking for the players and their families. The replacement of athletic fields was identified as a project in the MUSD bond measure. So Russell Middle School is one of the projects that is looking at replacing its athletic fields. And this will incorporate new track facilities. And as Cheryl mentioned, it will still have 2 sports fields, but going down in the number of sports fields. And I'll turn it over to Cheryl to talk a little bit about the project itself. Next slide, please.
Thank gosh, Rudy. So in this diagram, you see where we have incorporated a new track and field and then a soccer field on the interior. And in addition, the 2 softball fields remain and will be modernized and improved upon. But the snack shack you see is not in the design. Next slide. And the timeline is currently our project is with the Division of State Architect. The Division of State Architecture is the one that makes sure that any designs that a school district has for any facility aligns with all of the safety and capacity regulations that the state has for schools. And we anticipate approval of that in November or October. The superintendent, am consulting with our board leadership to determine the possibility of delaying construction until the summertime so that it would allow for another season of community-based softball. And that would potentially allow for us to come to other solutions if indeed it is found that we need more than the 2 softball fields.
Okay, so thanks, Cheryl, for that. So in looking at the long-term and short-term solutions for softball, both city staff and school district staff looked at some key criteria. One of those was the 3 regulation size fields, locations that have adequate parking, restroom access, storage, and then potentially concessions or a snack shack area. So for the short-term plan, while Russell Fields are under construction, we would look at fields that had snack shacks on site. Snack shacks are really allowed right now under the shelter-in-place order, but in a regular world, that they would. So some potential options for short-term would be Cardoza Park Field. That's a lit field, one field there. Gill Park Fields, that's one field that's also lit. And then the Dixon Landing Fields, that has 3 fields plus 1 small backstop. If that was a short-term plan location, there would be potentially a conversion of the senior field out there to multi-sport, so skinned infield. And then 2 of the existing fields are already appropriate base run lengths, and neither one has a permanent pitching mound. Those are both portable mounds, so those are flat pitching surfaces.
Renee, I have a question for the previous slide.
Yes,
so when you say on bullet number 3, so you say conversion of senior field to multi-sport, which multi-sports are you referring to?
That's a great question, thank you. So right now, the fields at Dixon Landing are baseballs. So if we would convert the largest field, which I'm calling the senior field, that would allow it to be both baseball and softball. There's different base run lengths for that age group. And then we'd look at skinning the infield rather than grass. So then there'd be basically 2 sets of base pegs out there. But it would allow for softball to be there and then baseball if needed.
Okay, that's thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome. So for the long-term options, the City of Milpitas is updating its Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We are expecting that to be completed in summer of 2021. We do anticipate that that plan will include the citywide needs regarding parks as well as field usage. We are going to be diving into potential and additional JUA opportunities within Milpitas and our partners. And we were very happy to have softball participate in one of our first focus groups that focused on sport fields in Milpitas. And we do anticipate there will be more discussions on that topic as part of the master plan update. And then also an assessment of both the city and MUSD properties for softball program facilities in addition to Russell. And so the next couple slides are going to go over a bit of a matrix for some initial assessments that both staff did for that. So to start off with the City of Milpitas potential sites, we did look at parks that have facilities already and that have acreage with them that might be able to accommodate softball. So the first one is Cardoza Park. That is a 10-acre park. There is one lit field there now. You'll see at the top, excuse me, I'm going to go back for just 1 second. You'll see at the top in the dark blue some of the criteria that we pointed out earlier in the presentation and just how we assessed the sites. So again, Cardoza Park, it has 10 acres. There is one lit softball field there now. The park itself does not have a snack shack, but it is within walking distance of the Sports Center snack shack. There are restrooms at the park, including one new restroom that was put in just to the south of the Cardoza Park softball field. There are 2 parking lots at Cardoza, There are lights. Again, there is no storage at the park itself, but there are storage containers and potential storage at the sports center. And just notes for this site has been used previously by softball for practices, and the benefits of having a lit field. The second facility is Dixon Landing Park. That's an 11-acre park. Currently, there are baseball fields out there as the main sport. There's 3 fields plus 1 backstop. There is a snack shack there. They do have restrooms. There is parking. The site does not have lights, but there is storage as part of the snack shack. And the notes that staff made was that fields can be converted to multi-use with a dominant sport as softball, but we would need to address some parking issues at that site for it to be viable long-term solutions. Our Gill Park is 8 acres. Most of that is a linear park, but it does have 1 lit softball field. There is no snack shack at the site, but there are restrooms, a parking lot, no storage. And just as of note, most of you probably know that a large portion of the land at Gill Park is over SFPUC pipeline and an easement, so it's not conducive to development, unfortunately. McCandless Park, this is a park that is planned but has not been built yet, although we are out, I believe we are either out to bid or about to go out to bid for this park. It is 4 acres. It's right next to Meadow School. It does have 1 planned field out there that is lit. Right now it is soccer that's planned. There is no snack shack planned, but there are restrooms, parking, lights planned, no storage planned at this point. And of note, a large portion of the park is committed to all-inclusive playgrounds through a grant through Santa Clara County, but the identified field space could be assessed for multi-use, including softball. And last on this list is our Milpitas Sports Center. This is 20 acres. The majority of the fields are baseball. There's 5 of them out there. There is a snack shack, restrooms, parking. The senior field is lit, and there is storage, like I mentioned before. The Little League fields, some of them could be multi-use with the dominant use as baseball. The challenge out there is that there's competing seasons with baseball and softball, and so that could pose some scheduling issues, but I do know that when our softball teams, our softball organization has tournaments in the past, they have used those fields as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't see, well, maybe the next slide will have it. Sango Court, is that on one of the next slide?
It's not, council member, and this is property that we have acquired right now in whole, so that's not part of it. But we do note that there is a future park planned out there, or there's parkland planned for in that area.
And how many acres is that?
In total, there was conceptual plans for about a 4 to 5 acre park. But we do not have those parcels acquired. I don't know if Ashwini, you want to weigh in on that? I don't think we have all that land purchased.
Yes, we do not. And it's kind of looking at, streets as well as parks. So it hasn't been designed yet. There's just conceptual plans. So it would be hard to know how many fields we could possibly accommodate at this time, council member.
Okay, but it will be 4 to 5 acres. And I know that we are in the process of acquiring that site. So, okay, well, thank you for that information. I just mainly wanted to find out how many acres it had. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the second slide on the matrix, this covers potential joint use sites that are on Milpitas Unified School District property. The first one is Russell Fields. This reflects the existing conditions of Russell. So it's an 11.5 acre field area. There's softball fields, which include 3 regulation and 1 practice field. There is currently a snack shack, restrooms, parking. The site does not have lights, but there is storage. And we just noted that the planned bond project includes multi-use field track and 2 regulation softball fields, and that there would be a removal of the old snack shack restroom portable as part of that project. The next space down is a combination of Russell Fields and Pomeroy as a potential improvement. Together, that would be 15 acres of field land. The planned improvements could be all softball. The number of fields would be determined or to be determined. We know that we have 2 regulation softball fields at Russell planned as part of the bond project, but an assessment of how many fields could be at the Pomeroy fields would still need to be conducted. As far as Snack Shack, we would need to evaluate the feasibility of that. For restrooms, potentially the school restrooms could be used with a cost share model for Milpitas Unified School District staff to open up that service when there are practices or games. There is parking. There are no lights at either site, and storage would also need to be part of an evaluation of feasibility. In our notes, we just noted that there is a potential for development of potential pop-up or a snack shack model at either site. And the last one is Rancho. That's a 16.5 acre field land area. The fields right now are multi-use and could be also multi-use in the future. The number of fields would need to be determined by an assessment. A snack shack is not planned out there. That would also need to be evaluated for feasibility. For restrooms, they exist at the school, and should there be development out there, potentially again a cost share for Milpitas Unified School District custodial staff to open up for practices or games. There is parking at that site. There are no lights, and again, storage would also need to be evaluated as part of a feasibility for development at that site. Just to note, from the school district side, went over that, but Sinnott School and those fields were not seen as an option for development at this time. And I'll turn it back over to Ashwini.
Yeah, Cheryl.
Before we
Well,
move
I guess
forward,
staff from both the city and MUSD, we are hoping to be able to continue to work jointly and obviously engage the community on the long-term solutions, because that will take some working. As you saw, there is some feasibility analysis to be done if you're looking at alternate sites. If we are able to push the start of construction to summer of next year, I think that gives us a little bit more time to figure things out. And we'll be bringing long-term solutions and then a potential amendment to the JUA to both the school board as well as the city council when we have acceptable options. And then, of course, we'll continue to engage the youth sports representatives through our Parks and Recreation Master Plan update process. That's really key to make sure we're hearing from the community as a whole so that we can have a comprehensive look at our future planning needs for sports fields in the city, not just specifically for this site. And again, already with the work that they have done, it becomes pretty key as our population grows to look at how we can leverage open space in the city. And so looking at future JUA opportunities is going to be pretty important. So I think that concludes our presentation. Would like to be available for questions and hear input from the subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee and Aswin.
So I have my hand raised.
there is a message in the chat as well. Or Scott, there's a message, there's a question in the chat. And I also have a question as well.
Okay, Councilmember Montana.
Thank you, Board President. So can you go back to the slide previous, the one with the last one?
Yes, 1 second.
Not that one, I guess the one before.
This one?
Okay, yeah, that one. So the next steps, city and school district to continue work jointly to engage softball community. So I would like to recommend that when you do have those conversations that you include a couple of the leaders from the softball team, so that way they can they can discuss and share some of the details. And I really am glad that in the short term, they will be able, from the superintendent's message, that they will be able to allow another season for softball at the Russell site. Is that clear? Was that what was said? Just
What
wanna,
Councilmember Montano, what I said is I'm in consultation with our board leaders at the possibility, and it is definitely a possibility.
oh, so it's not set in stone. Okay. Okay, so then we have that. I'm glad you were able to clarify that. But I would like to recommend that you at least have 2 members from the softball community. So that way, you can both find out all the details. Cause there's like, for me, I don't know all what goes on with softball, what kind of field they need for the girls to play their sports. All those little details, I don't know. So I think in order to facilitate this and have a good working relationship with the leagues and the city and the school district, it would be prudent to have some representation. So that way they can, we can all be learning, or the city and the school, about softball. And we can all have a win-win situation for the girls, which is what we want. The next thing, bring forward proposed long-term solutions to both policy bodies for this consideration. And that would be when, with the conversations with them on board. Continue to engage youth sports representatives in the parks and recreation master plan. And yes, the city council had a meeting at our last meeting, well, not last week, the previous one. We did discuss about the softball teams, and we're all on board, and we have a consensus that we want to help them. We want to make sure that they get their needs met, and we want to work with the school district to make sure that our girls get the facilities that they need to create, wholesome future citizens of the city. So with that, I'm done with that for now. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Carmen.
President Leanne, there is a
Public comment.
and also Vice President had a question.
Yes, I'm going to go with the Vice President first, and then we'll go for the public comments. Vice President Norwood.
Thank you, Board President Lee. There's been a number of comments that have come to the board, the school district board, about the desire for softball and a variety of needs. So I appreciate Councilmember Montano talking about the leaders getting a chance to be involved in the process, to also hear from the teams and the other communities in a more consistent basis in terms of this entire process. So that I appreciate very much. I also appreciate Superintendent Jordan clarifying that the goal was never to minimize the value of female athletics. My sister came up through athletics in the city of Milpitas a long time ago, before the joint use, before the fields at Russell were happening. I was over in the Randall, out watching girls softball at Randall Elementary School for many, many years in Milpitas. So I am familiar with the sport and the value it brings as a former athlete in the city of Milpitas as well. I do have a question for one of the, and I'm not quite sure who can answer it, that's in the attendance. Is there a dominant area in the city of Milpitas where more girls that play softball have come from versus the general city as well? Because living in Sunny Hills and then sometimes having to commute over to Sports Center or even to Rancho sometimes propose hardships. So I'd be interested in knowing, is there a particular area of town from which the majority of the girls are coming from? If anyone can answer that question.
I think maybe after questions are done, if any of the softball leadership, I know they're on the call, they could raise their hand and answer if that's okay with President Leon.
Yes, I know you're Vice President Norwood, your questions out there. I'm going with the public comments, and maybe one of the parents there can answer your question as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Or Roger Lee can also, Roger G, excuse me, since he was the founder.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Matano. Scott?
Okay, Joseph Weinstein, do you have a public comment?
Okay.
Yes, I do. Thank you. One of the things I want to point out, when I was part of the original people helping to put the joint use agreement, Ashwini, you can comment about this later, but in regard to softball, we knew at that point in time with the joint use agreement that the school district could walk out of that agreement at any time if they had an educational need. So I think the gentleman's comments are really inappropriate, attacking the school board. School board's gone out of their way to help my daughter and everybody else in softball. Second thing is down in Southern California, they're now using mobile vans for snack shacks. Third thing is a couple of the softball people league have asked me to try to get involved. Going out in the community, there are going to be some issues with competing youth sports because they feel that it is unfair in regard to softball. I don't agree with it, but I want people to know that. And then final thing is in regard to the Russell site and delaying it, I don't know whether this issue has come up, but I implore the school board to go through a legal review on this because this was part of the original bond money. And I believe that by delaying this, that you may be affecting the financing, you may be raising the costs, and then you are putting the school district up for a lawsuit. So I think all of us on this call want a solution for the girls. Let's work together and do it. But let's not be pointing fingers at the school district because Ashwini, unless the language is changed, they absolutely have a right to just totally walk away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein.
And we have Tina Ortiz with her hands raised.
Hi, good evening. I could attest to the question that Norwood asked, and there's really not one central location. I know as a board, the majority of us do live in the Sunny Hills area, but we have girls that come from all over the city, and a lot that are right on the border of Milpitas and Berryessa. So, I mean, that's one thing I did want to answer for you. And then secondly, two fields at Russell is great, but that's not a feasible for us to run a program. There is no way we can have 15 teams, have games all day on Saturday, and expect to be able to get all those games in. It's not feasible. If there's two fields that left at Russell, ideally for me as a president, I'm looking at those as practice venues. No longer a facility where that's going to be our home site anymore, because two fields is not feasible. Little League doesn't do it. Soccer doesn't do it. And I mean, the only program that's practical to do that is football. But a lot of times they have teams here and teams in other cities. So I just wanted to make that clear. And then last thing I want to clear up is the whole three fields. There is 3 regulation fields at Russell, but that mini field, not practice, that you guys call a practice field, it's a mini field. It's where our 3 and 6-year-old players play. So the city needs to understand, and the district, that we need 4 fields at minimum in order for our program to still be feasible and to run the way that we've always ran it in the past. And that's all I have to say. If there's any other questions, I can answer those as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe Roger Yee is the next gentleman with his hand raised.
Yeah, hi. Just to answer, I think you really have to consider the Sunny Hills, that you have to worry about whether they can commute or not commute to a field. the closer they are to that area, sure makes a lot more sense. So you need to accommodate that because you may have, and maybe not as much today, but you may have young ladies having to get to the fields themselves. And going out anywhere else where they'd have to get on a bus or they have to get rides or what have you is dangerous in my mind. So I think in some way, shape, or form, you might want to consider that so that it's more convenient in that Sunny Hills area. I mean, I live in the other side. I mean, it's like Rancho area. There's just more in the Sunny Hills area. I think that's why, and there were a lot of reasons why, but Russell made a lot more sense over there. And just so you know, from a school board standpoint, and I applaud you, that the joint use agreement was perfect for us in the city. The city agreed that we needed to have something, but also Russell required that field. That field was not being used at all. It was empty and abused. It was left alone by itself. So it worked out for all of us. So it was an excellent site at the time, and I get why they're doing it now. I just hope we can find something that makes more sense, very similar, and get to it. And I'll be more than happy to help if you need requirement, if you need my help. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
And that was the last hand raised at this time.
I have one more. So thank you for all the comments. Okay. I have my hand raised.
Okay, Councilmember Fontana.
Thank you. So, yeah, I want to thank Roger G for having the vision to create or to bring this up to Trish Dixon and the other city leaders, Bob Livengood, Pete McHugh, during that time when they had the ceremony to open it up. That was a great day in the city of Milpitas for all these young girls. And I really appreciated your Roger Yee's daughter. I forget her name, but she, I think I wrote her name here. Anyway, hearing her speak about how those sports have really impacted her life was really touching, and I really appreciate that. So I'm thinking about 23 years of how many lives were touched, how many girls' lives were improved because of this sport. And you're talking about an area that's centralized in Milpitas. It seems to me that from all the conversations and looking at the field matrix, it seems that Russell has 15 acres. Rancho has 16.5. It seems that Rancho would probably be the next best site to have all those amenities. And I am confident that the city would do everything they can to make sure that they have those fields. But it all depends on the school district if they want to use that site for as a joint use agreement. So, but I am confident that the city, actually, we said that. We said that at one of our meetings that we're going to be here for the girls to make sure that the girls in this city get to have sports, softball fields. So just want to make those comments about possibly Rancho. So with the school district, do you think, is this the time to talk about possibly Rancho or is this not the time? And then is there a bond language that states that you're going to be improving those fields at Rancho? Or is it just general? Because I noticed that the other slide that you had, it didn't specifically say that you were going to fix Russell. It just said fix fields, but it wasn't specific to that about what kind of field. I mean, what kind of sport. But you did say on that bond language that it's going to be, it was a general language. So I'm just wondering if that language is the same for the Rancho or is it on there on the bond language? I'm not sure.
The bond language is a bit umbrella-like, so that it encompasses all of our needs. And yes, just similar to Russell Rancho is our other middle school, and they also participate in the interscholastic athletics program with the track and field and also soccer. And they too specifically want a new track and field and soccer.
And that's in your bond, and that's in the bond language?
The specific detail of what it'll be, no, I don't believe that's in the bond language. It's more of an umbrella type. Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Ms. Zong, do you recall if it specifies particularly each field, or is it umbrella language so that we can make improvements at both fields?
Well, it's umbrella like language. It's very general.
And so, well, that's good to hear, because that way, so you have 16 acres, 16.5 acres. Do you think that you'll have enough room for fields and soccer and track?
Well, it is 16 acres. It doesn't mean that all 16 acres are available for fields. And no, we will not have enough room to have softball fields along with the track and soccer fields.
You will not, okay.
There
Unless,
are other, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Superintendent Jordan.
Go ahead.
Superintendent Jordan, I think you referenced the fact that as a part of the education system in the city, one of the things that we're looking to accomplish is to expand, because we do have interscholastic sports that serves approximately 700 or so students at each of the school sites. So I want to make sure that in the context that we are working together in terms of trying to find a solution here versus the language around, well, the city wants to solve this problem, but the school district does not, because we are looking at serving the whole community on almost a daily basis with the facilities that are going to be installed versus on a seasonal perspective. And please let me be clear, I am not diminishing, again, girls' sports. I understand how valuable they are, and they are very important to this community. So I want to make sure that as we have this conversation, we have the ability to have it in the way that's saying that we are trying to work together to find the best solution.
Right, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bert.
Hey, well, if I could take a moment here.
Yes, Mayor Sean.
Yeah. To our guests here at our subcommittee meeting, this is probably the best group that I personally love to work with. President Han Leon and Vice President Chris Norwood. You know, they love Milpitas. Their kids that grew up here are still here. Councilor Montano, same thing. Yeah, Councilor Montano, same thing. And I know softball is special to the council member, her daughter, her grandchildren, her granddaughters, and even for me. So I want folks to know that are watching, you know, we're going to work through this, and we're gonna get through it with the long-term solution. This is, you know, I think many members in the community, leaders have stated that we're not going to let this just pass by or go away. This is Milpitas tradition, young lady softball. It is a tradition. It is part of who we are. So I don't think we're going to have the answer tonight. I think we took a step today with our city staff presentation and just taking a look at our options. And anybody could see from the PowerPoint, thank you very much, Renee, our Director of Recreation Services is awesome. You know, we do have a lot of options. And so we're gonna try to do our best going forward here. I think the main concern for me is, and I know I'm gonna see the board members around the community, you know, maybe I might run into them outside a ice cream shop or coffee or something, and we'll share some thoughts, you know, maybe. But I think right now it's just the continuity for the young ladies. You know, this year has been so disruptive with everything in our lives, and especially for the children who we're trying to really protect and minimize the impact of the societal changes. One thing that the superintendent shared during this meeting earlier was exploring whether this project can be dated after the upcoming season. And so I know that's a discussion with the board, and that's something that I'm listening to the school district MUSD, and so if that's something that is possible, I definitely support that. Just so that after you explore that option that you stated yourself just now, and so I think that'd be great if we can minimize the impact on the young ladies and the just greater community. It's not just the players, but parents and coaches and everybody that plays a part. Carpools, driving the players to practice and things like that. And but yeah, that'd be great. I think ideally, time is something that we're all against in life, and if we can find some time for this upcoming season to happen, I think that'd be great. And I know the construction is key as well. There's different stipulations with the construction, but I know if it's I'm not sure how the financing is structured. A lot of construction loans, I understand, have timelines, and so that's a hard thing to beat too. And just really thinking about the construction of what's happening over there. But there are other sites, and it's going to be hard. I know that the location is supernatural, but if there's another location that's equal or greater, I think that'll work too. I know a lot of softball players growing up that lived on the Rancho side of town too, and so I think whatever side of town the fields are going to be, because there will be fields. I think folks are going to have to drive across our small town anyways. Hey, when I played Milpitas Knights back in 1998, I lived over on Escuela at my grandma's house, and my mom would get off work at 5. I'd have to be at practice at 5:30, and I couldn't. You show up late to practice, and you're gonna have to pay for it. And so I would be I would be outside already on the sidewalk waiting for my mom to get through traffic and to get to Milpitas and to pick me up outside on the sidewalk and drive me to the sports center. And so, hey, we got a small town Milpitas, so we're gonna be all right. But yeah, I think if we could just buy some time somehow. I know our school board leaders, school district leaders will take a look into that, but I don't think we're gonna have the answer tonight. And but I do know that we want the same goal, and that's to make this happen. So I hear the passion. I'm talking to the attendees here. I'm talking to our community members. I'm talking to the softball community, the softball people we know. I went to school with all 3 of Roger's daughters, and so I went to softball games in high school. Let's talk about MUSD real quick. Our softball team, I think my sophomore or junior year was pretty darn good. They went deep into the playoffs. I mean, these young ladies, student athletes, had skills, and they got it from the Roger E. Field straight up. And so I get that for sure. My goddaughter, my godson's godmother, Brittany Gutierrez, is a classic example of softball. Brittany, Brittany, she coached Frostoff at Milpitas High School for a few years, and those teams were super winning teams. I think they won the league. But Brittany, out of Milpitas High School, she got a scholarship to North Dakota, got her degree.
Her mom, Andrea, and Frankie. And
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Milpitas. So to everybody, everybody, you have our emails, you have our phone numbers, you know who we are. Councilor Montano, Rosie, you know what's up. And so just let's come together. And I think the more we come together and support each other, and just trust me, you could trust in us, because I trust in every single one of these subcommittee members. I trust in the superintendent. I trust in our city manager's office. I trust in Renee time and time again. We got the skate park done. We're going to get past this recession. We're going to get our money, and we're tax money respectfully and appropriately. And we're going to do something special. I will commit, and I know Councilor Montano, we speak, in the community, on the city council side, we're all for it. As fast as the skate park got pushed, or prioritized, I should say, I think we'll do that. We'll commit to that. We'll prioritize you know, with the right funding that's available in the right time, that we can as soon as possible. I know, right? I know, it's a recession, but we're gonna bounce back. We really are. It's you know, but I think Councilor Montano and I were here today. We can say we're going to prioritize this project. If we need to do a cost share, or if we just need to push it, fund it. If we need new fields, which I think we will, because I'm going to keep it real. You know, I think we're going to need a new location, and I think, you know, if we explore Rancho, which I think that's my preferable location, you know, for a new JUA with the school district really appropriate. I think that's right by Roger's house. You know, we'll take over the Roger E name, we'll bring it over. It's right by the house, and then, you know, if there's any lack of coaching, you know, we'll get Roger to, you know, he's right there. But you know, that's the cool thing about Milpitas. There's those really neat things, you know, because we're all so close, but we're not going to answer this tonight. And so I just want to give you my spiel. I want everybody in the community to know that we're going to really come together. And I think just tonight, the only thing I'm concerned about is the, you know, continuity of the young ladies. I don't want them. I seen the video. Shout out to everybody that made the video. I know everybody saw the video. Thank you. That was really special, really sweet. There was a video by the community, softball community. It hit really hard. But
I haven't seen it. Can you share it?
Oh, all right, Rosie should have shared it. Rosie, what are you doing, Rosie? But she's listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll text you. The link.
Yeah. And I agree.
She'll text you the link. Yeah, she'll text you the link. But anyhow, I'm gonna stop talking.
Thank you, Mayor Tran.
Yeah, I just want to say that I have so much faith in this group, and also my only one concern, if it's noted in the minutes for today, is the continuity for the young ladies.
We hear you.
Yeah. So,
and yes, that's why we've been having meetings, lengthy discussions, and we're here today listening to the parents, listening to the coach, the leaders. We will work things out. I'm giving the floor back to Superintendent. If there are any other discussion on this item, and yes, I agree, we will not have an answer today, but we are working on this. We will make sure that we partner up with the city to provide the field and to provide, this is the reason why we said we would delay the construction of Russell Field, so the girls can have this one season to play. Superintendent.
I think that's great. It'll give us time to come up with a real plan, a permanent long-term plan for everybody.
Long-term, right.
So I have to remind the board president, and not just to keep everything just in context, is one of the public members who commented is that there is a financial implication. And as Mayor Rich, and I know that we're excited and we're in the moment, and if we could have come to this meeting today and say that we are immediately able to decide on delaying the field, that would have been done. But there are some legal and financial things that we have to work through in terms of construction and those types of things, and moving forward in that direction. So I don't want to, again, I appreciate the conversation and where we're going, and knowing that we're going to figure this out, because the joint use agreement is a symbol of how we work together in so many ways, including the ladies softball and getting the understanding. And I'll reiterate, I appreciate Councilmember Montano saying that we should be at some of those meetings so that we can get the details, because those things are very, very important. So I just want to be cautious in terms of what that might look like and what that number might be in terms of us delaying for softball. So, but we are going to come together. We are going to figure this out. So thank you, Mayor Rich, for your comments and the direction that you've added as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we move on? Okay, we're moving on to item 2, the list of all city commissions, sorry. City, Sweeney or
Excuse me, President Leon, we do have a hand raised. I believe Rosie Walker has her hand raised. It was flickering on and off, so did we want to hear that or no?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, Rosie, give us a second. And you're good.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Rich Chan, for putting me on blast. So I got the message, so I had to comment. I just wanted to say thank you guys for having this meeting. As you know, maybe you don't know, I currently coach JV softball at Milpitas High School, and I just wanted to comment on a lot of the things that are going on. And as a past board member for Bobby Sox and for PAL softball, I know that this board has been working relentlessly on trying to figure this out. I think some of the issues come from the communication. So I do agree with you, Chris Norwood, on having the meeting. We need to be more inclusive and involving people, because just like I was thrown off when I heard about the dissolution of the joint use agreement, and I kind of, I'm still emotional about it. I actually, cried about it, because I didn't think that would ever happen. And I thought that the contract we had a long ways to go. So if that wasn't the case, then I think probably somebody should have let the girls softball leaders know about it. I do want to just say that I do hear what you're saying about the interscholastic sports, and I know that softball is at the high school, so that should mean something, right? I know that somebody keeps saying we can't spend bond money on softball. I know that in the past they have been trying to furnish a softball program at the middle school level. I know I did in the past. I know some of our student athletes have brought it to the board's attention in the past years. And I know there is the issue of Title IX. I have looked at the Title IX language, and it seems like it could be feasible. It's not the girls' fault that softball is not in the middle school level. It is in every other school district surrounding us. It's not their fault that softball is not a part of the middle school program. It is a huge part of the high school program. So I just want to let that be known. I know we're trying to stick to the script as far as educational involvement. Softball is very educational. I can attest to that. A lot of these girls wouldn't be making grades if it wasn't for softball. And I will tell you, it is a lot of girls that are high risk youth. So
Rosie, your 2 minutes up. Are you going to have to wrap up?
Okay. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Yes, going back to item 2.
Right. Thank you, President Lee, and I do have a couple of slides for the subcommittee.
Okay.
All right. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, well, hold on a second.
I see y'all.
That's
see all of you.
Sorry about that. One more time. All right.
There.
How about now?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Okay. So we had a request from the school district to go over the city commissions. So we'll do that as briefly as possible, because the city does have 12 commissions. Each are comprised of 7 commissioners and 2 alternates. And a couple of the commissions do have non-voting seats for student representatives. And I believe those are on our Arts Commission and our Public Safety Commission. Our commissions meet at different frequencies, such as monthly or bi-monthly, and that is outlined in specific months in their bylaws. And each commission is staffed by a few of our departments in the city. So here's a list. I will not read these verbatim. I won't read through these because that's a lot, but I'll go over it briefly. So the Arts Commission is staffed by Recreation and Community Services. This is established to advise the council on matters pertaining to the arts. They oversee and make advisement on the public art program, the Phantom Art Gallery programs at the community center and the library, and an art and culture grant program. Our Community Advisory Commission that is staffed by our Building and Housing Safety Department. They serve and advise the council on matters relating to community improvement, and that includes beautification, community-wide neighborhood cleanups, and they also make advisement on the California Development Block Grant recommendations for our council as well. Our Economic Development and Trade Commission, that is staffed by our Economic Development Department, and they are here to advise council on business issues and make recommendations on the design and development, implementation of economic development in our city. They also deal with trade matters and subject topics related to our prior sister cities commission. We do have a Energy and an Environmental Sustainability Commission that's staffed by our Public Works Department. They advise the city on matters pertaining to recycling and solid waste management. Our Library and Education Advisory Commission is staffed by Rec and Community Services. They make recommendations to council on the operation of the library services and facilities in Milpitas, and also promotes literacy in our community. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Commission is staffed by Recreation and Community Services that advises council on park operation and maintenance, recreation, leisure services, historic preservation activities. They also advise on any land acquisition or planning for future parks, and also are here to help protect and enhance our historic and cultural heritage structures. Our Planning Commission is staffed by our Planning Department, and they are established to advise our city on matters pertaining to land use, zoning, and development permits. We have a Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Commission that is primarily staffed by fire, although PD is heavily involved in this commission. And they advise council regarding emergency preparedness and disaster planning, which has been key this past year. Along with our school district has representation on this council, this commission as well. They work on an annual emergency evacuation drill, mass feeding exercises, etc. We have a Science, Technology, and Innovation Commission. This is staffed by our Information and Technology Department. I know this commission was of interest to the school board representatives. So just as an overview, this commission advises our city on matters of telecommunications, legislation, and implementation at the local and state and federal levels. They also consider and recommend information technology services to benefit the Milpitas community. I know Ashwini's highly involved in this commission. I believe they also just updated their work plan and will be recommending, proposing to recommend on matters related to digital literacy. We have a Senior Advisory Commission that's staffed by Recreation and Community Services. This commission advises the council on matters pertaining to recreation, nutrition, transportation, etc. for our senior residents. We have a Veterans Commission staffed by Rec and Community Services. This consists of honorably discharged and actively serving veterans, and they advise City Council on matters pertaining to veterans care, rights, and acknowledgement. And lastly, our Youth Advisory Commission staffed by Rec and Community Services. This was established to advise the City Council on matters pertaining to youth and teens in Milpitas. And this group has been pretty key in helping us develop teen programs, seminars, stress reduction, coding programs, and they've been really an integral piece in actually recently getting our pre-voting registration events out to our teen community and out in the Milpitas community. So that's a very, very quick overview of our 12 commissions. If there's any specific questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Renee. Vice President Norwood, I know this item was yours. Do you want to discuss the subcommittees?
Thank you. Not being completely familiar with all the detail, I know that I'm familiar with the Planning Commission, the Economic Development Commission, the Youth Advisory Commission, the Senior Commission, and somewhat familiar with the Arts Commission. But I just know that there are a number of Milpitas Unified School District parents that have a wide variety of interests, and they ask us a lot of questions, and some of them are at the city level, and not having a good idea of where to potentially direct them, except for texting Rich or Carmen or somebody like that. Hey, can you answer this for me? But being able to point them in the direction of a commission meeting that they could possibly sit in on, or to learn more about what's happening in the city. That's what I was really interested in. And particularly just kind of happenstance on the science technology one, knowing that we were dealing with, digital literacy is being dealt with at all levels, the city, the county, and the state level. So I'm just thankful for having an understanding now of all the different commissions that are out there, and that the information is published on the website in terms of where the dates and times of their meetings. But that's what I needed. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. All right, moving on to number.
Just real quick, sorry.
Oh, hi.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about the commissions. That is one of the components of my job as the mayor, is to oversee the commissions and to nominate folks for appointment. And I just thought of an idea right now listening to Vice President Norwood in terms of getting more engagement and participation with the community and the MUSD community as well. Renee, let me ask here, and this could be a great idea to come out of this subcommittee. I know the school board has that kind of sixth seat there for the high school person.
Yeah,
Student.
it's a student, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, is it reasonable to have kind of a high school student, or MUSD high school student slot for each of our commission? Can we bring that forward somewhere? Yeah. After the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of our commissions do have student liaisons on them, and it is part of their bylaws. So if the council wanted to add a student rep to each one, then we could take that direction and then add that to the general bylaws.
Yes, that'd be great. After the holidays, 2021, maybe the first January there, we can, if you can help me. I guess I can make the motion later, but if you can note that somewhere, I don't want to forget. I'll have to write that as well.
Yeah.
But so I'll, that'd be great for our school district and our city to have a student kind of seat, if I may, at each of our commissions, and that way that can open up more opportunities, because I know our youth commission can only hold so many outstanding MSD students.
Right.
And so, yeah, so that came out of today. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Montana.
Chris Norwood, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson Chair Hanan. When I was in the school board, I was a liaison for the Library Commission, which is now called the Education Commission. And I'm surprised we don't have a liaison from the school district on the Library Commission. So maybe that could be revisited again. Bring a board member onto that. So
yep. Changes.
Maybe
can be dealt with bylaws.
Yeah, maybe Chris, maybe you might want to be on that commission, on that Library Commission.
And stay married? Come on now.
All right.
You guys are killing
I see. Aswini, did you have your hands raised?
Yes, I did, President Lynn. Thank you. Mayor Tran, just wanted to get some clarification. The Planning Commission is a little different from.
Oh, no, not the Planning Commission.
Just the 11. Well, we can bring that forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank you, Ashwini.
Great, thank you. We're moving on to number 3, City Milpitas partnership opportunities in the next 12 months. So this is open to all of us to discuss.
Well, I think I want to thank this partnership for the food distribution. First, I just want to show my great thanks to Recreation Services for kind of operating it in the school district for also operating it, but also hosting it. It's just been a tremendous event for folks in this region, let alone Milpitas, and it's really great to see the young people volunteer. I know our softball program, the young ladies are out there volunteering consistently, as well as other youth and just a diverse group of volunteers. And so I do want to acknowledge that. I know we're talking about the next 12 months. And so in thinking about the next 12 months, I think the economic development part is critical. How can we come together to kind of help organize or foster or find someone else to do that, but to support some type of economic development. I know a lot of the youth in Milpitas from the football team, a lot of the student athletes that graduated earlier this year. And what a graduation ceremony it was. Also happy to see all the families out there walking social distance and having that experience, albeit with no one in the audience. There's no audience, but that was incredible. I just want to note that. But a lot of those student athletes, a lot of the 18-year-olds that are now graduates of our school district, like myself, but those young people now, the newest graduates that we have, I know a lot of them. Some of them, I think there's like a Safeway. A lot of them are working at Safeway right now in the town center to just stay busy, to get through this COVID pandemic. And some are in school, some have chose to wait for school just because of maybe their area of study is affected or area of activity. But I think our partnership going forward to really make a meaningful impact, just as good as the food distribution, will be if we can somehow, and I can take, and I'll take leadership on this one if I have to. Provide our young people, maybe 16 and older, with economic development opportunities, and to ensure that if a student would like to work as well due to the financial need, we can be a place for a partnership for those 16-year-olds and even our graduates here, even town, even actually, because it's MUSD forever. It's not just when you get your high school diploma. This is a part of you. You're a Trojan for life or Cal Hills for life.
Yep.
And we want to continue to support our alumni as well. So if there's a partnership we can look into here just in Milpitas, something special, I will put in the time for that. I have some time now. I'm retiring and separating from the National Guard this December, so I'm having a lot more time now. So if that's something that this subcommittee can have support with, I'll lead the effort. I'll put together the framework for it, and it can be a great partnership. Because I think with everything going on, everybody's, even the young people, they're finding themselves now, with the need to have what's it called, gainful employment? Is that the right term? I'm not sure, but I think that would be my idea for a partnership going forward here, based on what I'm hearing in the community.
So
I see Superintendent Cheryl's hand raised.
Oh, you're presiding over the meeting. I'm just here. Yeah.
Yes, by the time you finish, it might be 7 p.m.
Okay, I'm looking to the superintendent as well.
Right.
Like everybody happy.
Let's be mindful. We're already past our time, but let's discuss this item. So if each one of us take a minute or two at the max. Superintendent.
Thank you. I would like to point out that one partnership that we're working on currently is with Parks and Recreation and After the Bell to provide some more support for families of elementary students who need in-person support for both childcare as well as engaging students. And then I'd like to remind everybody that back in May, I believe it was, that with the economic development and small business support, we announced our Milpitas Alliance Partners for Future Ready Learners. And we pointed out to the small businesses at that time that we have students who are entrepreneurial and creating their own nonprofits, and that they would definitely benefit from some sort of apprenticeship or experience with the small businesses that would benefit the small businesses, as well as provide our students with work experience. Beyond working at Safeway is great bagging, and it teaches a lot of skills. And in small businesses, there are other skills that they could learn. So that is one opportunity that we might have for pursuing some continued partnership.
Thank you. Vice President Norwood.
Mayor Rich had spoken about youth. I know he has the youth workforce program, which also aligns with the MAP program that we have as far as for future ready learners. So there is some synergy, and unfortunately we are low on time, but I do want to see if we can bring this topic back, because there's a lot of synergy on a number of different things. We're just kind of not having enough communication for the things to align and happen. So I would just ask with my time that we bring this item back to the next meeting and put it on the agenda so that we can dig into it a little bit. We've done some great work during COVID in a number of other areas. So we might as well just keep the relationship strong as we possibly can.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So we will bring this back.
Well, it's up to the city because they have the agenda next time, but I'm just asking that.
Please, yeah, I second that. Yeah, I think there's consensus.
And I think Renee's taking notes.
Always.
He always.
All right, great. So that will be on the future agenda items. Also, the softball field will be back. And I think that's it.
One item that I'd like for discussion, the swimming pool at the high school. Can you bring that item back? Because a lot of parents are asking me about that. When is the time for the community to use the pool? When I grew up in Sunny Hills, the pools were always open in the summer for the community, and now it doesn't seem like that's happening. So if you could bring that up, because I've had parents ask me about that, and I said I didn't know, but I'll find out.
Yes, we can bring that back. But Superintendent, you do have a short answer for Councilmember Montana, right?
Yeah, I'll wait till the next meeting. That's okay.
This summer let's remember this summer we had COVID, so I'm wondering if that might have played into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I do need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Thank you for a great meeting, Chairperson.
Great meeting. Thank you. Thank you all for the time. Have a great night and a great weekend.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.